Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is another Thursday. I can't believe it. We are already into yet another week and we have reached the end of the month. May is over. How is that possible? I guess it is. So here we are, and we're going to have some fun with paper and ink and actually lots of fun with foil today. We're wrapping up our Fun with Foil and Flocking month, and I'm so glad to have you guys here. I see some new people joining in. Welcome, welcome. If you are new here, do pop into the chat, say hello, tell us where you're from. We're all across the world, and I'm glad to have you here with us. So let's see, we've got Joanne and Tracy. Welcome, ladies. I'm so glad that you guys are here. They're all over the place. We've got Paula and Nancy and Sue and Cece, and good to see you again, ladies. So glad you're here. We've got a whole bunch of other people that are watching. So thank you for joining me live today. Let's get to some quick announcements. I haven't changed these up. Frankly, I just haven't had the time, but there really was no need to. So we'll just run through these real quick. Cardmaker Success Summit. The wait list is open. Go to NicoleWattCreates.com/card summit. And then I'll take you over to Brandy's site so you can get onto the wait list. It's just easier for me to write my URL there, so that way it'll pop you over to hers. I don't have to confuse you on it or anything. But that will get you on the wait list for this, the Cardmaker Success Summit, which will be at the end of July. It's going to be so exciting. Very, very cool. If you got my email last week about the demo day, that is coming up in June, and that's going to be 6 stamp companies that are going to be demonstrating a whole bunch of their products. It is another 100% free event. It's just a one-day event, and of course you're more than welcome to join that as well. Get on my mailing list. Go to NicoleWattCreates.com/technique freebie and grab the technique freebie and get on my mailing list, and you'll get all of that information in your inbox. Let's see what else. So we're wrapping up hot foil today. We're going to do a scrap buster. We're going to have a great time with that. Then next month we're going to go hot and heavy into gel press. So the specific name for next month should be gel press and stencils. Every week we'll be using stencils and our gel press in different ways. So you'll get to see all sorts of great ideas, and I am loving these projects, and I know you're going to love them too. Even if you're a beginner with gel press, they are attainable. So join us next month and learn how to use your gel press and have fun with it. You will need acrylic paint, a gel press, a brayer, and some stencils. And really, that's about all you need. Some paper to pull your prints on, that kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm glad to have you checking that out next month. And then into July, we're going to look at wax mediums. I think maybe you've seen here, Arts just came out with their wax mediums as well. So there's all sorts of companies out there that are using wax mediums these days, and we're going to explore those and how we can add them to our projects. Okay, talked about the technique freebie. Crafty sales. Oh, it's Memorial Day weekend here in the US. That means there are going to be sales. I saw Picket Fence already popped their first sale, 20% off everything. So make sure you check out NicoleWattCreates.com/crafty sales and check out all of the sales that are going to be going on this weekend. Those are going to start updating probably tomorrow. And then they'll more than likely go through Monday or Tuesday. Sometimes they extend a little bit longer, but I will keep that page up to date for you so you can do some shopping. And of course, those are affiliate links, just like the supplies down below. So if you use those links, I may receive a small commission, always at no additional cost to you. A very easy way for you to say thank you for all the work that I do here on this channel and that all the other crafters do out on their channels as well. And of course, if you are creating with my ideas, with my techniques, with the ideas you see here, if you're inspired by that, I would love to see what you're creating. So if you're out on Instagram, do tag me at NicoleWattCreates, and I will leave you a little comment and some hearts and some emojis, and check out what it is that you're doing that has sparked your imagination. All right. As always, the affiliate links are available for you if you need to do some crafty shopping, and this weekend sounds like it might be the weekend to do it. But if not, and you want to support me directly, you can always use the tip jar link that is over in the chat. Under the bookmarked item, it's at the very top, today's supplies. If you click on that, it'll give you a link to today's supplies and also to the tip jar, and then that's also down below in the description as well. It'll just pop you right over to PayPal, and you can give me a couple bucks for a cup of coffee, which keeps me going and creating for you. So thank you. And of course, if you love what you see here, please do subscribe, just like these folks have subscribed this week. Thank you so much for continuing to grow my channel. I'm so excited. I'm this close to monetization, and it's going to be great for me. So thank you for all of your subscriptions and for watching all the content on my channel. I do appreciate it. All right. And give me a thumbs up. Thanks, Anne. Yeah, if you love today's content, do give this video a thumbs up so that the algorithm at YouTube knows that you like my content. All right, so let's take a look at today's project. Okay, so today's project was inspired by this card to begin with. So this was something that I did for Alton New. They had a release with some hot foil dies last month, and I created this card. And I love this. It's so beautiful, so simple, and actually quite easy, and it's great for a scrap buster. So here's the thing. If you don't have foil, it's always nice to add that little shiny element, right? So you could do a little bit of heat embossing on here instead, or you could just omit the foil altogether and just use some scraps from your scrap bin. But of course, we're talking about foil this month, so I decided to grab some of my foil scraps and turn it into this, which is so shiny and lovely. You'll see when we look at these foil scraps how shiny they are. So cutting them up into smaller pieces is really a great idea. Okay, so we're going to make a whole bunch of these in some different color combinations. You'll see how exciting and fun and easy they are. And then maybe a couple of these. We'll see what kind of time we have. So this is another option to use your foil scraps with some die cuts. So let's talk about foil scraps. All right. Hello, everybody. So glad to see a whole bunch of you popping in there in the chat. So I'm glad you're there. Okay. Scraps. Let's talk about scraps. So this month, these scraps are from this month alone. Let me pull all of the scraps, and I have all of these scraps from all of the projects that we have done all month. Yikes, right? So I have all of these little scraps. Right, so these are leftovers from ones that we die cut, or that I cut to size after we foiled them, right? I've got, what else do I have in here? I've got like these from the very beginning of the month. I took that hot foil plate and I refoiled it onto another piece here. And I've got some other pieces that I just used for demonstration, so I got those. And then I've got leftover flocking, right? And then I've got leftover foils. My bloom crafters will recognize these. We did a little bit of an experiment last week in our private community, and we had a little fun with foil. So we're going to use these today. I've got a piece of flocking from last week, and then I have like some other foil in here, right? And you're thinking, what am I going to do with this? It's a lot of leftover foil, and I don't want to waste it. So we're not going to waste it. We're going to create background sheets with it. So like these. Oh, look at that. This is actually an acetate. So awesome. So heat resistant acetate you can foil. You can foil onto Yupo paper. So this was a alcohol ink background that I foiled onto. You can foil onto patterned paper. This is the other side of the patterned paper, but you can see the pattern in there. You can foil onto watercolor paper. So there's some watercolor in there, some gold and some other things. And here's another piece of acetate with some more pattern paper. So this one you can see the pattern kind of coming through, the different shades of yellow. Let's see what else. And then these are just some other scraps. All right, so you can basically foil on anything. Can you use foil if you don't have a machine? You're gonna want, this foil that I'm gonna be using today is all toner reactive foil. So you need to have a laminator or a mink machine for this. You can use foil with your die cut machine. You can use this toner reactive foil with your die cut machine. Check out last week's video because we used it with the flocking. And let me find that piece. I've got so many pieces going on here. Okay. So we did it last week with the flocking. And then I went ahead and in our private group, I foiled this instead. So if you use the Transfer Gel Duo. Look at last week's project, Transfer Gel Duo. You can run it through your die cut machine. All right. Oh, and Anne points out too, it does work if you have an iron. So you could always iron it. Oh, she's almost like giving it all away. I'm going to share something really cool with you guys that might be exciting to some of you. Okay, so I got lots of scraps everywhere. We're going to foil up some of these on some other papers. And you know what I just realized? Like I didn't even pull out papers to foil those on. Ermagerd, we will have to go to the scrap bin together. But let's talk about what you can use. So if you're using like the deco foils from ThermoWeb, these are all toner foil. Okay, so you can use the toner sheets. They come in 8.5 by 11. You can cut them down. They're always going to be black. All right, so let me show you an example of one. I know I have one in here. Oh, I know where it is. It's right here. So it's going to look like this. So you're going to have black and you're going to have whatever your foil is, but you're only going to have black to choose from. All right. So let's talk about another option. All right. So that is the toner sheets. We're not going to use those today. We're going to use this. It's so awesome. It's called Hot Melt Adhesive. All right. And when I got this, I was like, I think I know what this is. And I was right. And one of my Bloom crafters confirmed it. This is all I have left right now. I'm going to have to go to the fabric store. So if you've ever been to the fabric store and you've ever used something called fusing or iron-on adhesive, so that way you don't like have to do sewing. It's like a no-sew situation, right? And you didn't really steal my thunder. You can get this stuff called Heat and Bond. And I'm sorry I don't have a bigger piece with the whole name on it because this is all I have left of it. Heat and Bond. But guess who Heat and Bond is made by? And this is what I was telling my my membership member. It's made by ThermoWeb, and ThermoWeb is the one that makes all this stuff. So when I got the Hot Melt Adhesive, I was like, this kind of feels the same. So if you go to the fabric store, you can get this stuff called Heat and Bond, and it comes in different strengths. You do not need the Ultra Hold. The Ultra Hold is really for if you're going to do fabric, you need something that's really going to be heavyweight and not pull apart. Really for card making projects, you can use the lightest Heat and Bond available. And that will probably save you a couple of bucks even because it won't be as expensive. It gets a little bit more expensive as you get more bonding capability. So yeah, so any kind of iron-on, double-sided iron-on adhesive material like this, you can use to fuse your toner sheets to paper. And that's what we're going to do. And that's how we get it on all of these fun materials. We're even going to use some of the Heat and Bond. I have a piece cut today that we're going to use just to show you that it does indeed work. Okay, so if you get the craft version of it, you're going to get, I think, 5 sheets, maybe. I've used almost all of my sheets. I think this is all I have left. Yes, 5 sheets. So, and then it does also come with a piece of parchment, so that way you can run your stuff through with the parchment if you want. Or I mean, if you don't already have parchment set up for that. All right. So, but the cool thing about the Hot Melt is that you can then, you can attach this to basically anything. You can put it on fabric. That's kind of what this was designed for to begin with, was for fabric, but it also works with paper very, very well. All right. So that's what we're going to use. All right. That's empty. Let's go find some scraps. I suspect you probably could even do this on glitter paper. It might be kind of a cool effect. It just kind of occurred to me. All right. So I have all these pieces. We've already got like a ton of other ones done, but I wanted to show you how this works. So using the hot melt or heat and bond, whichever it is that you're using, it's a two-step process, right? So what you need to do first is find a suitable scrap or piece of colored cardstock, whatever it is you want to use. So let's say I want to use this. This is just a gel press leftover like from my brayer. All right, my first step is to take the heat and bond. And so this shiny side is the heat and bond itself. So you want to flip that over. You want to see the dull side, the backing. And you want to put that right on your scrap piece here, or your whatever paper it is that you've decided to use. All right, so I just have like this little sandwich. I'm going to put it in my little carrier sheet that's going to go through my laminator. All right, you definitely want to have your laminator at the 5 mil setting if you're using just like a regular office laminator, because it needs to be hot. It needs to melt. I tried to do the heat and bond at the low setting and it did not go through. Anne is intrigued by glitter paper, so I'm going to grab a piece of glitter paper. Okay, so because we have no idea how this is going to work, right? I'm going to do the glitter paper with... it's best to run it through twice. I'm going to do the glitter paper with this piece here. So we'll pick out a fun color with that. All right, so this is running through. And then we'll see what happens. So Anne wants to know, can you die cut the heat and bond before you use it? Of course. I think though what you might run into is that it might come off of the carrier sheet, so be careful about that. And then of course you can always die cut this afterwards, right? So once you have the heat and bond on your backer sheet, that's permanent. So what we're going to do is take off the backing. And what you're going to see is that heat and bond, hot melt, whatever you're calling it, depends on your product, right? So you're going to see now it's shiny because this is a shiny material. It's not a matte finish. So ThermoWeb makes a matte finish and I'll be really happy. But I love the shiny look too. All right, so here is, this has got the heat and bond or the hot melt sheets on it, and this does not. All right, so you can really tell the difference. All right, so then all you're going to do is take a piece of foil, like this one here. Oh, this is going to look awesome. And you're going to line it up on here and just kind of flatten it out. It does kind of want to stick a little bit, not because it's sticking, just because it's shiny and it's got just a little bit of a sticking power to it, which is kind of nice. So I stick that on there pretty well. And I'm going to run this through my laminator again. Now the key is you want to make sure that all the heat and melt is covered because it's going to melt again. So if you put this through your laminator, your make machine, that is going to reactivate it and it might get on your roller or it's going to just get hot and make a mess. It might get on your fingers. It's very hot and you don't want to burn yourself. So make sure that you're covering up all of the heat and bond or the hot melt that you've put onto your cardstock or your piece, whatever it is that you've chosen to put it on, fabric, whatever. And then you're going to run that through your machine again. All right, so let's find ourselves. And do we really want to go? Ooh, yeah, let's do that. Let's see if it works, guys. All right, so we've got our next one lined up here. And that's going to be a little live experiment because I've never done it. Yeah, important safety tip. It does get hot. Even this right here is hot, so I like to let it cool a little bit. You're going to grab your end here and you're going to rip it off. And this is kind of like getting a wax, except it doesn't pull your hair. So you just want to be kind of rip the Band-Aid off. So grab a little bit on the corner here and just go ahead and rip that off. And look at that. All of your foil has come up onto your piece here. And so you've got all of this really yummy pattern. You can see everything underneath it. It's so gorgeous. And then you can die cut this. You can use whatever you want with this, right? You can do all sorts of different things with this really, really cool piece of foiled paper. It's all shiny though. If you wanted to fill in these little spaces, yes, you could run another piece of foil over it and it would fill in all of the spaces, but then you wouldn't see anything behind it. So this is really, really cool. Just like this. And it uses up all the foil on your carrier sheets. Yay. I can throw away that piece of plastic, recycle it, and feel good about myself because I used all of it. Okay, so let me grab this piece of heat and bond because I knew this was smaller. Oh, maybe I lied. And you've got me like wanting to really, really try this. Okay, so this piece of glitter paper is this thinner glitter paper from scrapbook.com. And you know, I said it out loud and Anne's like, yeah, let's do it. So we're going to do it. All right, so I'm just trimming this off because obviously this piece is a little bit smaller. This is just a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece. So now I'm going to run this through again. I've got my heat and bond is touching the glitter paper. This is a no shed glitter paper. It's very low pile. It's very flat. So that's why I think this will be successful. And so scrapbook.com carries this. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 sheets. They now have 6 by 8 and they also have slimline. So check these out. They're very, very cool. Very nice. It's nice to have thin glitter paper that's shed free that looks nice because you can die cut this really easily. So I am going to run this through the laminator twice. Well, maybe I don't have to. It feels like it's really stuck on there okay. All right. Ooh, it did stick good. Look at that. It's stuck. And it kept the glittery effect. This might just be like a huge glitter overload. All right, so I wanted to put this on here. All right, and so with this one, remember, you don't have to cut down the foil or anything. If it's not touching anything that it's going to stick to, it's just not going to do anything. So it's all right. Actually, let's be a little smart about this and make sure that it covers the whole thing. That way, if I ever wanted to use this as like a whole card front, I could. I love you guys. You're like waiting with bated breath. You're so excited. Okay, so again, we're going to put it in our little sheet here. And what I'm doing here is this is just like a piece of white cardstock and then the parchment paper. I create a little leading lip here so that way everything stays together when it goes through my laminator. And then it gets direct contact on the foil. I find that this works best for me and my laminator. Other people might be able to get away with doing the little packet where where your parchment covers the whole thing, but that doesn't work out for me and my laminator. So don't need to put shiny side. No. Okay, so with toner foil, this side is the foil side. This side is the side with the carrier sheet. So you want to put flat side down where it's going to stick. So that is kind of an opposite of the of when you use a I'm going to run this through one more time. When you use the hot foil plates, different. Which is probably why people get confused and they put their foil the wrong direction, because if they've been using toner foil, the shiny side is up. Whereas when you do foil plates, the shiny side is down. All right. Oh, I'm excited. I see a little bubble in the middle here. Double-sided sticky sheets. You mean like double-sided adhesive? Like you would use if you were going to glue two pieces together? It might work, although you might end up with a mess, and I don't know how well the bond would stick afterwards. But heat and bond, man, I love this. This is great. Okay, so here we go. Again, look. No foil. Oh, guys, this is fun. Look at that. It has some texture to it. Just a little bit, but not much. That's mostly from actually the heat and bond. Those little dimples and things is from the heat and bond. But look at the glitter really did shine through. I love it. Ta-da! This one is like more than I can. Wow. Like this is definitely needs to be die cut and cut into smaller pieces and all that kind of stuff. All right. So look, you can do this on anything. We can grab, you know, a piece of watercolor cardstock. You can grab, you know, anything that you might have in your stash. Anything will work. And you can even use, like I said, you can even use acetate. You can use pattern papers. So let's say I wanted to have a, you know, a wood grain with this stripe on here, diagonal stripe. That would be really pretty. You could do it, you know, on anything, really. You just have to know that, like, for something like this, where there's a lot of foil left over, you're really not going to see a whole lot through it. So perhaps this one is better done on a piece of toner paper or on a piece of just plain colored cardstock. I like to say, get the bang for the buck, right? You need to kind of test it out, put it over things before you actually commit to it, so that way you know what it's going to look like, right? All right. All right, Penny's trying to decide if she does or doesn't have a laminator. She says, I do not have a laminator. Okay. The iron. Hey, like Anne said, whip out your iron and you can iron the heat and bond on there, and that would work out. You might be able to, so I see what you're saying. You want to try to put this onto double-sided adhesive and pull it off. I believe that would work. I would run it through your die cut machine just to give it a little bit of pressure and make sure that it sticks. The only problem that you might run into is that anywhere that there isn't foil, so any of these little areas here, are going to stick to that double-sided adhesive, and it might not pull off. So that might be a problem that you run into, okay? But you know what? Try it. You never know if it might work. So try it with a piece of foil and just say, hey, I'm exploring. I want to see if this will work for me, and then go from there. Or you got the iron, exactly. Cool. All right, so I have more foil that I can play with. I even have some flocking that kind of works, but not super great. It will leave a lot of bare patches if you try to reuse your flocking, because it's really removed quite a bit of the flock from the paper to begin with. So you can do that with just about anything. Fun, right? So then we get to create with it. So a lot of these will probably end up back in the scrap bin, but now they're even more usable because they've got all this fun foil on it, right? So this could go back in the scrap bin, but at least my foil isn't just sitting around with nothing to do. I've committed it to something and it looks really great. So you have a choice. You can either leave your foil scraps hanging around, or you can pre-do them on a whole bunch of scraps as you have foil pieces done. So it just kind of depends on what you prefer to do for your process. All right, so these are awesome. Okay, so now we are done with the laminator. I'll turn that up so it doesn't heat up the world over here. Although it's kind of cold here today, so having the laminator on wasn't too bad. All right. And now we can make some cards. Okay, so let's see. I have a whole bunch of VersaFine Clair colors today. I very rarely stamp a sentiment in color, but I was really enticed to do that when I created these cards because I liked the way that I was able to really bring out the color in the piece behind and then leave everything white. So this is a very clean and simple, and I really like the way that these turned out. So we're going to start off with some of these. Okay. I have a whole bunch of foily squares already cut. And these I have cut down to 2 1/8, I think. You could go up to 2 1/4. It's a decent size. And I have this die, which we will get to in a little bit. So I pre-cut a whole bunch of these itty bitty branches from Altenew. This is a recent release of theirs. Love it. It's just a nice little filler set, but you can use them standalone like I'm going to use today. All right, and then the stamp set is More Than Words. This is another Altenew set, and this has been around forever and a day. So we're going to use those. And then for the other design, I've got this beautiful die from Stamp Market. This is called Ready to Bloom. And then, of course, we have a whole bunch of leftover foiled sentiments from earlier this month from Pink Fresh, the Celebrating You set. All right, so we're going to use those for the second card. Let's see, what else do I use my laminator for? To laminate stuff? To be honest with you, I don't use it a whole lot. I just happen to have one. I don't know if I would have ever bought a Mink machine to do toner hot foil to begin with. Although I hear people find them at Tuesday morning all the time. So, but I really do enjoy the foiling. I think they look absolutely gorgeous. So, well, now that I have it, I'm really glad that I do. All right, so I'm actually going to stamp right on the card base. And I find that the best way to get this kind of prepped is to put your square where you think it's going to go. So for me, I'm trying to center the square at the top. So it's got almost even spacing left, right, and top. So it's going to go kind of right there. So I'm going to put my magnet right on top of that. And then I can pick out my sentiment. Let's say we want to do live in the moment. All right. So I want it to go there. And this kind of helps you so you can space it perfectly left to right. You can kind of see how that works out. All right, I am going to take this off because optically it's making my eyeballs like look at things and say they're not straight. But now that I've got it kind of in the place I want it. All right, so that looks pretty straight. I like to just put in a piece of plastic sometimes and stamp it. Okay, so I've got some purpley backgrounds, some pink dotty backgrounds, and then these floral backgrounds. All right, so let's start with the pink one. So what I'm going to do is probably use, let me see. I think I'm going to do Charming Pink. All right, so VersaFine Clair. Why am I using this? Because it is an oil-based pigment ink that stamps amazingly, right? Everybody uses the black versions of this, right? So this looks pretty good. I think it's nice and square on there. I can live with that. So I'll remove my plastic and stamp this up again. I love to stamp sentiments with any color of VersaFine Clair because it has the same properties as the black one. So if you like the way that the black VersaFine Clair stamps, or VersaFine, either way, they're both the same thing, you're going to love the way the colored ones stamp as well. See, look, one stamp and it's beautiful. It's nice and crisp. It's not going to bleed out. It's not going to spread out in the paper fibers. It's going to keep that nice crisp look. So when I stamp a sentiment, I really like to use any shade of VersaFine Clair. Right. So there we go. And it does wipe right up just like the black does. So let's do one in each of the colors. So we're going to do the Live in the Moment. And I've got some more card bases right next to me. So that way I don't have to worry about resetting my stamp. Just going to pop this right in here. And then for the purple one here, I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use Fantasia. I think that's going to be a good match. The Monarch is more of a plummy kind of color. So let's try Fantasia. And since that was lined up, like I don't have to test it again. I just have to stamp it. So this is great if you want to do a nice little couple of card packs and you've got different colors going on. This is exactly how you can do it. All right, so there we go. That's beautiful purple. And for the last one, should have used a bone folder on the other one because I didn't have a nice crisp fold at the top. Okay, so for the third one, we've got this green color, and I used, let's see if I can find it. Oh, I have it sitting. I didn't have like a light match, but this Warm Breeze really worked well with the green that I had going on in here. All right. See, gorgeous. Okay, so I got 3 of those. And then I would go ahead and change up my sentiment and say I wanted to do like a little trio of them. I would just pick a third sentiment that kind of goes nicely as a trio. And then you have like a little gift set, right? Super easy way to use up scraps. They already match. So, perfect. All right. So Anne wants to know, do I store all of my ink pads on their sides? Yeah, actually, unless they're the mini squares, all of my ink pads are in these kinds of little makeup trio cases, and they all fit best on their sides like this. And the ink is suspended in the pad. It's not going to drip down. So as long as the lid is on it, fine. It can be stored like this. All of my oxides and distress inks are also stored on their sides. So, yep. All right. So actually I can move these out of the way because we're done stamping. Okay. Now I've got my big pile of flowers and leaf bits. There we go. You know, I very rarely even stamp on a card base, but these were just so simple that it just seemed kind of silly to add another piece on top of it. So this is the only thing going on here. So that's all I had to do, right? Okay, so we're going to do, you know, like so. This I'll probably put in that direction. All right, so we've got those 3, and then I've got more here so I can finish up a card set for those. All right, and then we're going to do just some foam squares on here. And I happen to still have this 2-inch foam spool roll from scrapbook.com. I don't necessarily advocate having all these different sizes. This is a super leftover from a long time ago. But sometimes they really come in handy. Like if you need to, you know, put down some bigger chunks and you just want to be able to put a piece of foam on the back like so. I mean, you can't get any easier than this, right? So do you need it on a roll like this? Nope. You can use your little foam squares on everything, right? I just happen to have it. All right, see how easy that makes it though? All right, and then So now is the moment of truth. I just kind of keep everything, you know what, let me move into the center here so you can really see this. All right, so I just kind of keep everything squared up. And then I'm going to get this guy. And I actually have to like look up at my camera here because I can't put my head right over the top of it. Normally I would put my head right over the top to make sure that I got that nice and square and evenly spaced on the three sides, like so. All right, so we're getting there. So as you can see, like you could totally batch these up. It would be very easy to do. So do we like it better this way or this way? We like it this way because we're going to put those, you know what, this one. I don't like the way I folded this one. There we go. All right. So again, I'm going to get this kind of, so if you have something that has a pattern on it, make sure that you're cutting it nice and square. So that way your lines are still going to be, you know, perfectly vertical or horizontal. Same thing with the like dot patterns, like try to cut them so that they fit on here fairly evenly, right? If it's a floral like this one here, it totally doesn't matter, right? It could be anything. Two. So again, you might get one little pickup before it decides to really stick. There we go. I did pretty good on those. All right, so there's a start. Now we just need to find some flowers. So you could do something just simple. Like so. All right, it does not have to be difficult. Okay, so on this, you're going to want to use a liquid adhesive probably versus a tape runner style adhesive because you really want it to dry and stick in place. A tape runner is more likely to pull up. So I am just putting a little bit of Tombow mono adhesive. And see, look at how simple this is. I'm just putting the one frond down and then this other one I'm going to put on here just like so. I mean, it really, these little guys, you hardly need anything. It's so amazing. And I like these to extend out so that you're really breaking the lines on the square underneath it. Put that back in place. There we go. So you can do something just that simple. If you want to add another little frond in here, you can, kind of like making them look like they are hooked together or something like that. You know, you could add another little one out here if you wanted. You could put something a little thicker in here. You could cut these up and put a little bit here like this. Let's do that. So I just cut that one in two. And then what I'm going to do is kind of put it right here, maybe a little bit underneath that one. And it'll make it look like they're attached together. So cute, right? And then we just need to put some sequins on that one. Same thing with these guys. So if you're going to see it a little more, maybe you want to do something a little different. Maybe we want to do that on this one. And that. So I'm going to kind of raise this up a little bit. Doesn't need a lot of glue, just a little less bit to get these little bits to stick down. And then it'll dry in place. And then for this guy here, I'm going to bring him up a little bit higher so that it looks like it's kind of coming out of these leaves. There we go. And then I've got this little space down here, so I can take like this here and do something like that. Or bring another piece in like this. I could leave it plain if I want. I mean, there's like a bajillion things you could do, right? You could cut off a little bit of this. So let's say we cut this off here. So don't be afraid to cut these guys up. It makes them even that more versatile, that you can cut them and make them into even smaller bits. There we go. All right. So trying to watch time here because I want to move on to the other one. You guys get the point on this. We're going to add just a little bit of sequins on these guys. So with the sequins, it looks really nice if you do 2 off and 1 on. So I'm going to do like 2 here, 1, 2, and like a third one here. And I'm using the satin white sequins. I always pour these into a little dish so that I can pull out what I need with my tweezers. I've tried all sorts of different tools, guys, and I just keep coming back to the tweezers. So this guy's going to go right here. And then the triangle pattern, right? The triangle pattern works every time. Triangle pattern. So we'll do the big one, and I like to pair the big and the teeny tiny, and then the medium one off to the side. See, that finishes that off. Simple as that. I mean, you could do oodles of these in like no time, right? So there's that one. And then for this one, again, it kind of looks like I could do 2 here. 1, 2, and then maybe a third here. So again, same thing. We've got our medium size one, and then off to the side here, we're going to do our large. And, oh, come here. And our small. Super simple, right? So if I pull out the original, yeah. Let's see. So you could even send a trio like so. You just change up your 3 sentiments so that they're all different. And you could send a contrasting trio, or you could start matching them up together and do a similar trio, you know, however you wanted to do it. And you can end up with these really cute card packs from your foil scraps. So easy, guys, right? Okay, so let's take a look. I feel like I'm really rushing today because we had so much fun with foil earlier. The second project, I don't always do 2 projects though, right? So the second one, I did actually do like a blush of pink on the back of this one, but I'm going to do this one just white. All right, so here's the other thing that you can do with your foil pieces once you have them backed on something, right? So instead of having to worry about just black or whatever, right? Let's pull out one of our fun sheets that we have foiled. Here, you know what? Let's use the one from earlier today. So this is the one that we foiled earlier. So this is just a gel plate background, right? And we put this fun foil on the top of it with the hot melt adhesive sheets. All right. So all I'm going to do with this one is die cut it. I mean, it doesn't get any simpler than these. Oh, and then I've got my sentiments that I already had hot foiled from earlier in the month. So remember when we used this set, I'll show you what the stamp looks like. Even if I was only going to use one of these, it's really nice that Pink Fresh puts all of them together. So that way you can just have them pre-cut. You just keep them in a little clear envelope or whatever. So that way you know that you have them, maybe even keep them together. I kind of waffle back and forth about where I keep them. Actually, I keep these with my scraps because that's where I'm more likely to go looking for something like this, because I have lots of different sentiments with my scraps. So keep it where you'll remember that you have them. And then you don't have to worry about actually making it when you need them. You just have a whole bunch of them ready to go, right? Okay, so get yourself a really fun cover die, right? So it could be this kind of floral cover die. It could be a pattern floral cover die. It could be any kind of cover die, right? And we're just going to die cut this. All right, so let me run this. And I don't even care. Like if I wanted to really save a whole bunch of it, I could get up in the corner here, but I don't have to. So run this through the die machine. Let's see if it cut through. Yeah, we're good. All right, so see, it's all cut through. There we go. So with this one, I like to try to flip it over and kind of keep everything together if I can, just because it's easier to match them up later, but it doesn't always work that way. That's okay. So got this. What I really want is this piece here. Look at that. Beautiful flowers. So cute. This die is from the Stamp Market. And where did I put the packaging? Here it is. It's called Ready to Bloom card cover. Right, super cute. All right, and someone wants to know my Magic Matte combination. Okay, so I am using a Gemini Junior, and my Magic Matte combination is this. I use the plate that came with the Gemini Junior, so it's got completely squared, or it's got the rounded off edges, but it doesn't taper at all, right? And then I use my Magic Matte, and then I use a Sizzix Big Shot matte. It's got the little tapered edge here. It is slightly thinner than the Gemini plate, and it keeps all of these from warping. I mean, right now they're kind of a little warpy, but I put something thick through here recently. But they hardly ever look like this. They're usually 100% flat. All right. That is my combination. All right. So what I like to do is kind of eyeball this and make sure that I have it kind of going the right direction. I mean, you can put these anywhere you want. I just try to match it up a little bit. And there's a whole bunch of little holes in here too. There we go. All right, so you could always run this through with the double-sided adhesive on the back as well, so that way you don't have to worry about the glue bit. Just stick it on. It's so handy. Sometimes I wish all cardstock had double-sided adhesive on the back. Just like pre-done that way. That would be awesome. All right, so you can kind of put this on however you want. Like I said, sometimes I get kind of picky and I try to figure out how it's supposed to go. Other times I'm just like, whatever. Let's do something like that. Just give that a second. So remember, it's just paper on the backside, so it is going to stick down quite nicely. And I didn't do any kind of ink blending or anything on this. So it's going to be just a stark contrast here. And then I have all these other little bits behind here that I got to push out. So you can start like deciding where you want all of these little flowers to go. Or you can use them for another project if you don't use them all. These are great little flowery scraps. So look, I have all these little flowers. I don't really need all of these on here. So I'm not going to put them all on here. Is it the B plate? It's just the clear plate. It's not a B, A, B, or C plate. It's just the clear acrylic plate. Paula, I can send you a link to it so that way you know which one it is just for comparison. But yeah, it's just a plain acrylic plate, not a lettered plate. You know, sometimes you can get them like blue sparkly or whatever. So this one actually uses up a whole lot of your scrap, right? Because you've cut out most of it with this dye. I've got, you know, a little bit that I could still cut out and use for other things if I wanted to. Yeah. And then all I have to do is pull out a sentiment. Oh, hey, look. Thinking of you. And I'm just going to pop this guy up with some foam adhesive. And I like the strips for these because you can just do a strip right across the edge like that. And that's all you really need. And this one, you can add additional gems if you would like. You can leave it just plain. You can do a little bit of ink blending underneath ahead of time before you put down your dye if you want. If you're going to do like a geometric cover dye, then you could do ink blending underneath and then of course put your dye over the top of it. All right, so there we go. Super cute. And then, like I said, with this one, you could add in some sequins. You can add in some gems like these. This is the, I think, the Celebration Gem Set Mix from Pigment. These are great. And you can put them either around or in the centers. They just add a little bit of extra visual interest. So I like to just put a few little dots in places. This one is kind of like a little more freeform action going on. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pull out some gems and pop them right on those glue spots. So this one's got a lot of sparkle going on. Even after we die cut it, right? I mean, like, wow. You know what? Let's move this guy here. Just a smaller one there. There. Super cute. Ooh. I never disappoint. Thank you so much, Trisha. I appreciate it. All right, so here you go. Here's our second. So this one, like I said, it's got a little bit of pink on that. Can you see it? A little blush. This one, just nice and white. Super cute. Oh, look, I even picked out the Thinking of You. And you can tell too, this is the original. So it's got the gold letters. This one has the reverse. So this was the leftovers. So there you go. Look at all that fun sparkle on both of those. Super nice. Super nice. So we got those. We did these. I can make a whole bunch of card sets from all of my foil scraps. So every foil that we use this month, I can turn into foil scraps just like these and use them up in other projects, lickety split, and have no more scraps on my desktop. All right, guys, there you go. And we did that in an hour. So actually a little under an hour because we have announcements at the beginning. So I'm so glad you guys joined me today. Let me pop through questions really quick and see if there's anything else that I can answer before I head out today. Let's see, you guys were super chatty. Thanks for chatting it up. Let's see, we talked about laminators. We talked about using the hot melt or your melt, the bond from ThermoWeb. So either way works, which is great. Excellent. All right, guys, I think I got all your questions taken care of today, and we will be back next week. So pull out your gel plate and get yourself some acrylic paints and a brayer and some papers, and we're going to have fun with gel plates all next month and stencils. So have a wonderful weekend, holiday weekend for many of you. Enjoy the weather. It's supposed to be nice in many places around the States. So I hope that you all have a wonderful 3-day weekend if you're celebrating. And I will see you here next Thursday for more Running with Scissors. Until then, guys, happy crafting.